So this is Razer's flagship hybrid gaming headset. What the f is a hybrid gaming headset? What? It doesn't even come with a removable boom microphone. Is this really a flagship? Has active noise cancellation too. Hope that doesn't become the next hot thing in the gaming audio, you know what I mean? So Razer is updating their entire Barracuda lineup with the Barracuda Pro, the high tier hero SKU, the middle line, the Barracuda, and they are updating the Barracuda X, the entry version, with double the battery life and the smart switch, which I appreciate. And also the included carry pouch with the Pro model, and ANC is probably not worth the $90 premium over the middle SKU Barracuda. I do apologize in advance for my voice, still recovering from COVID, but my question today would be, is this thing really worth it? The premium over the lower tier SKUs, and does ANC matter in the gaming environment? So let's start with the design, right? So the looks, it's very simplified. It's the Barracuda family. It's blends between the aesthetic, gaming, and lifestyle. So this thing will blend in within the crowd, no problem. It is slightly larger than the Opus or the original Barracuda X, but still lightweight enough not to be a nuisance. Even though it's 330 grams, it doesn't feel like it on my head. It still feels very well supported, not just on the ear cups, but on the headband as well. The ear cushions are deep enough with thick interior lining for comfort. They work very well with glasses, and it's definitely one of the more comfortable pairs in the wireless space, and they also have slightly less clamping force versus the Barracuda and the Barracuda X, and I prefer the Pro over everything else. All the controls are basic, so a digital volume control, a mic mute switch, they charge with USB-C, and you can see all the exposed microphones to get that ANC going. So the lack of a removable dedicated boom microphone on the Pro model is, I would say, a huge downside from Razer's point of view, even though it is aimed towards that hybrid demographic who wants something more lifestyle, who wants something gaming on the go, come to the office, to your place of gaming, and also use this. The microphones on here are not trash, but they're definitely not up to par for what you can get for that price point in other gaming headsets. But regardless of how much ANC you enable, there's no escape from today's video sponsor. So I'm supposed to just build this? The new K5. Customize your own with a ton of color options for the entire assembly, plus plenty of switch varieties with a hot swap body, or choose the retail black or transparent white models. The PCB mounted stabs are factory lubed, the RGB boost mode is freaking cool, and the Super Scan Tech scans your keystrokes every half a millisecond for outstanding performance, all for a quality feel. The Extra 5 K5 Compact. Explore your perfect 65% keyboard below. Which brings me to 5 annoying things about the Barracuda Pro. The surface texture is better than gloss, but with an almost sheen grain. It's great under the microscope, but not good against finger oils. It will get nasty pretty fast. The USB receiver, because of its odd L shape, will definitely block one of the ports on your PC, for example, depending on the orientation of how you plug it in. Fortunately, an extension is included, so you can use that with a standard USB port. Also, you cannot stash the receiver inside the ear cup. There's just no room. It doesn't really hold in place like you can with basically all other wireless headsets. And of course, you can plug it into the USB-C port on the headset itself and travel like that, but that's probably not going to be the most safe thing to do in the long term. The headset has built-in voice prompts for changing modes to changing sources, but it doesn't have a voice prompt for mic mute, so unless you physically look at it and you see the green, that's how you know it is on. The ear cups do not fold inwards, which is weird for being a mobile-centric headset. They do fold flat, just not the right way around your neck. Wow. And of course, the price point / the classification of this being a hybrid perhaps would indicate some more functionality for perhaps wired use, wireless use with your PS4 and everything. So in the wireless space, it's fine, but there's no analog jack. So you cannot plug this in and use them in wired mode. You cannot even use them while they're charging, which is pretty dumb. The lack of a removable microphone, of course, gets some points deducted. And I would actually recommend maybe looking to the Barracuda X or the middle Barracuda, because I feel like those for the price points offer a lot more value and functionality. Both of which have Bluetooth 5.2 and 2.4 GHz functionality, just like this headset does. They do not have ANC, which this thing really tries to upsell itself for, but ANC for most people, not necessarily that useful. The Pro does sound better though, and it has a more comfortable ear cup material versus the regular Barracuda, but still, it's 90 bucks, man. Which brings us to 5 clever things about the Barracuda Pro. So first of all, it remembers your ANC settings after a power off / power on cycle, which means that I love the ambient mode. It simulates this like open back feel. Every time I turn them on, it remembers that setting and I'm back in. I appreciate the power LED right beside the power button being far away, so when you do cover up the power button, you can still see the LED. The wireless range on this thing is truly impressive. It is by far the best wireless headset that I have in terms of range without destroying the signal quality and still being 6 meters away in my kitchen with several walls in between and having absolutely no dropouts or any crackles or interference. So well done. Also, Razer made it extremely simple to switch between different modes. So with a double tap, you can switch between 2.4 gigahertz hyperspeed wireless or Bluetooth mode. Go back to your Bluetooth setting. With a single press, you can cycle between the 3 different ANC modes, so on, off, or ambient, all of which have audio cues when you enable them, so you know exactly where you are. And finally, the ANC. So at first, I thought it would be a total gimmick for gaming, but it does have a specific use case in certain situations. So for example, ANC is not necessarily needed here because the passive isolation of these ear cups is already very good, but ANC adds a slight dimension to that, muteness. It like mutes the background even further. Therefore, it allows you to listen to music or audio or gaming at a slightly lower volume without being totally distracted by your outside environment. I love that for Escape from Tarkov, where audio cues are everything, and therefore it allows me to slightly lower the volume of the headset, turn on ANC, and being totally confident in what I'm hearing right now is all game volume and not anything from my environment. And of course, the biggest advantage is when you're on the go. It helps to mute the world slightly, remove some of the humming in the background, some of the highway stuff, and it's not that aggressive. And here's my recreation on what it sounds like. Nice. But of course, if you like to blast your ears with audio, ANC will be pretty useless. Interestingly though, we have 10 levels of ANC to play around with, either through the Razer Synapse or the Razer Audio app. Anything above 7 introduces white noise and hiss. I do not like that setting. Anything below 7 is kind of, start to reintroduce some of the background elements that get canceled out. So you either want to keep it 5 or 7, or keep it off. So this is what the microphone on the Barracuda Pro sounds like. It is an integrated microphone, which Razer tells me is best in class, but does not compete versus dedicated boom arms, for example. But, it sounds like it's coming from the ear cup. The microphone is there somewhere, and therefore the sound is a little bit distant, but it does have noise cancellation built in as well. So let me know what you think of this microphone quality. What you listen to now is that recorded by the cheapest in the Barracuda family. The updated Barracuda X obviously has a dedicated boom microphone that you can remove if you don't want to use it, and therefore still have this headset as like a very good mobile Bluetooth / 2.4 gigahertz headset. But in terms of microphone quality, definitely I prefer this over the Barracuda Pro because of its integrated microphone versus dedicated boom. Next up, we have the HyperX Cloud Alpha Wireless. The reason it's in here is because the microphone capsule is absolutely massive. It sounds fantastic, very warm, lots of body in the sound, and as long as the microphone is not in the position of all your plosives, it would sound really decent, and it has a really good noise cancellation algorithm built into the background. Well done, HyperX. And just for reference, here's what a proper wired microphone sounds like. This is one of the latest Corsair headsets, and I think they've done a fantastic job in making sure the sound is warm, it's clear, it has just enough background compression, and this is definitely one of the best in its budget class. Well done, Corsair. Now, when it comes to audio performance, I think it's solid. The Pro is going to be one of my top recommendations in the wireless audio. ANC, surprisingly, does not change the sound profile, even though it did with the Opus, and it was a totally different experience. Here, it just mutes out the background noise. I think that's why it's so minor, ANC, because they don't want to completely bash the audio fidelity of what's coming in here. So there's a lot of clarity in the bass region, which is fantastic. The high end is smooth, and overall there's a lot of power without giving you bleeding ears. I would say it is one of the better wireless sounding headphones, and it's even better than the middle Barracuda and the Barracuda X for sure. There's just more character in here, even though they are using slightly different drivers, same drivers, slightly different tuning, and I can hear the difference for sure. Now, battery life is rated at 40 hours, which I think is conservative. I've been using this headset for 2 weeks, both on my gaming PC and with my mobile device, switching between Bluetooth and 2.4 gigahertz. I'm at around 30% right now, and I've been using this, fairly consistently, like how I would with a normal pair of headphones. And the power savings kick in after 15 minutes of inactivity to preserve battery life, as it should. So what we have here is a solid sounding wireless gaming headset with a pretty disappointing microphone, subpar ANC that in most scenarios won't be necessarily useful if you're at a desktop, but might come in handy if you're traveling and you want to use this whole hybrid approach between gaming on your mobile versus using it on a desktop. The price, of course, is astronomical. This is a Razer tax all over again. Feels like we're going in circles about Razer introducing something that is fantastic value and lots of features and then spiking things back up. And this is that perfect example where I don't necessarily see how this would be a $249 headset, but it's almost clear that they're trying to compete with the lifestyle headphone audios, ANC headphones of the world from Sony, from Microsoft, and yeah, it clearly shows. If microphone is important to you and you don't care about ANC, definitely either the Barracuda or the Barracuda X. And this, if ANC is like a must, but just know that it's not aggressive and it will slightly mute the background stuff. And I do like the ambient mode. That is definitely something of a huge value add with the Pro, especially for my usage. But let me know what you think of the new Barracuda family, the Pro, the regular, or the X. Which one would you pick? Everything will be linked in the description below. Thank you very much. And yeah, I'll talk to you in the next video.